Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Chronically Me podcast. I'm your host, Aimee Esther, and in today's episode, we are talking about how to find control when you live chronically ill. If you live chronically ill like me and are looking for more purpose, control, and joy in your life, then you are in the right place. This is the podcast that challenges your thinking around chronic illness so you can live the most amazing life despite extra challenges. Are you ready? Let's go. Hey, welcome back. I am very excited for this episode because I'm actually taking a snippet from my course. I'm taking one of the course videos in my course, Chronically Me, the course and workbook, which goes right along with this podcast. This course goes in depth about control and has many other topics such as acceptance, the future, the past, the present. We talk about all of that as well as how the brain works, why we think the way we do, and more importantly, how we change our thinking if we want to, and how we can feel our own emotions, how we can balance our emotions and our physical health. How do we deal with both? How do we cope with chronic illness when there's this emotional side of it? There's this mental battle constantly with our chronic illness. And also, it explains why it's so hard, to battle chronic illness mentally. We talk so much about the physical aspects of chronic illness and how to treat those and what we can do about that. This podcast is all about the mental. My course is all about the mental. The difference between the course and the podcast is the podcast is more real-world examples of specific things that you can do, specific ways you can think differently. The course dives deeper into how the brain works, as well as how to change the way that you are thinking, the way that you are doing things right now. If you hear something on the podcast and you're like, wow, I love that idea, I want to take that and put that in my life, the course is what teaches you how to do that. So I wanted to share a snippet from my course because I get a lot of questions about control. So I decided to pick one video from the course and share it with you today. So there are some visuals, if you're watching this on YouTube, that you will see I write a little bit down, but I also talk everything out. So if you're listening on the podcast, you'll still get all the information. Just there are a few things that I write down. So if you hear me pause or something like that, it's probably because I'm just writing something down. I hope you enjoy this and learn a little bit about control. One of the most common things I hear from people who live chronically ill is that they feel like they aren't in control of their lives. And this is something I have also experienced as someone who has dealt with many chronic illnesses. And it's so funny because we want control so bad. But the truth is, we can't. We don't have control over anything. I'm sorry to break this to you, but you don't have control over a single thing in your life. Think about it. You don't have control over your spouse or your partner or your mother or father or your friend or your doctor or your kids. You can't control them. They can do literally anything they want at any moment of any day. No matter how hard you try to influence them, they still have their own brains. They still have their own choices. We have no control over the weather. We have no control over disease and pandemics. I have no control over my house. My power could go out at any minute. I could lose all my internet access. I could lose the heat in my house at any moment. I could get in a car accident at any moment. We could be in an earthquake at any moment, or a hurricane, or anything can happen. Truthfully, we have no control over anything. And I'm not saying this to scare you, I promise. I know it sounds scary. That is not why I'm saying this. I'm telling you this because what's interesting is we want control so bad, and yet we have no control over anything. And as someone who lives chronically ill, something I'm always looking for control over is my own body. And there are certain things I can do. I can decide whether I move my hands or whether I put them down. I can decide what I say, what I don't say. But some of my chronic illnesses, I still have no control over. I might be able to do a few things to influence them, just like I can influence some people. I can influence some of my pain by taking certain medications or eating a certain way or taking certain supplements or whatever works for me, but I still cannot force my body to take any of that. I recently had a really high pain day where I took some very heavy pain medication and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. And I ended up going to the emergency room because I couldn't find any medication that would curb my pain. So I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to help you notice that our brains aren't looking for control. It's not even possible. It is not possible ever. What our brains want is the illusion of control. They want to feel in control. It's a feeling, not a verb. I'm going to say that one more time. Control is a feeling. It is not a verb. You cannot control something. You can only feel in control. Think about that. You really can't. You can't control anything outside of you. You can feel in control. There are certain things that I do that help me feel in control. For example, I keep my bedroom super clean. That's one way that I feel in control. So even if the rest of my house is a disaster and my kids have smashed Cheerios and fruit snacks into every crevice of my house, I keep my bedroom spotless so that I have a place where I feel like I'm in control of my house. And sometimes I do things to help me feel in control of my illness. For example, I will go on a diet and I feel like I'm in control when I'm on a strict diet. Even if it doesn't do anything, I have found that when I restrict my food, I started to feel like I was in control and that I could handle this just because I thought I was in control of my life. Or when I do things like yoga, even if I'm in a lot of pain, I feel like I'm in control of my body. And so I do that to feel in control, but I'm not actually in control ever because anything can happen. Even people who are perfectly healthy, have never had a health problem ever in their lives, can suddenly develop a health problem or have something that they just never knew they actually had because they didn't have any symptoms for it. Any of those things are possible. So it's not about being in control. It's about feeling in control. And chapter 4 is all about this. We're going to learn how to control our whole world through our thoughts, feelings, and actions. But right now, I just want you to think about a few questions. Do you feel out of control in your life or with your illness? In what ways do you lack control in your life and why? What is taking away control from your life? Why do you need control in your life? Why is a lack of control so uncomfortable? What does control even mean? If you had full control, what would that mean for you? How would it change your life? In what areas of your life do you already feel in control? What does it feel like to be in control? What do you think about when you are in control? What actions do you take when you feel in control? What would your life be like if you gave up control? It's so much easier to blame things outside of us than to take ownership that we are creating it for ourselves. So what I like to do when I'm struggling with feelings of control is I like to change the way that I'm thinking. A lot of my thinking is coming from blame thoughts. The goal is to make control thoughts. So let me just give you some examples. For me, the most often way I start my blame thoughts is I can't. I can't, whatever. I can't go outside in the summer because of pots. And again, you're not taking this course because I have good handwriting. All of this is in your workbook and it's written down quite nicely. So head over there if you're not reading my handwriting and I made a few mistakes. So point is, I have thoughts like this all the time. I can't go outside because of my POTS. I have a condition called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It causes me some symptoms upon getting too hot and increasing my body temperature. And so I used to think it's my illness's fault that I can't go outside right now. And that feels like I've lost control. I have no control of my actions because my POTS is causing me to stay inside. But that's not true. I could walk outside at any moment. So what if instead of blaming it, I created some control? So my control thought for this would be, I choose to stay inside today because I prefer to stay inside than deal with the physical side effects from my heat intolerance. Instead of telling myself, I can't, I tell myself, I'm choosing this. I am choosing to stay inside because I would prefer the side effects of staying inside than the side effects of going outside. So maybe my friends invite me to a park day with the other moms in the neighborhood. And it's easy to think, well, poor me, I can't go because I have this illness, and feel like I just have no control over my life. When instead I can choose to think, I'm choosing to stay home and deal with the side effects of missing out than the side effects of going and having to deal with a flare-up for the rest of the day or the week or however long it's going to last. I would much prefer that, which is why I'm choosing to stay. Do you see that it's the same thing, but I'm going from blame to choice? Blame to control. Which one feels like you're in control? This one feels hopeless. In this situation, I'm giving up my control. I'm just giving it to my illness. I'm like, here, you can have it. I don't want it anymore. When in this way, no, I'm taking it back. I'm like, hey, yeah, I have this illness. I have POTS. I have multiple other chronic illnesses, and I still live an awesome life because I make choices every day based on the side effects. Even if I had no illnesses, I would still make choices based on the side effects. I make choices based on the side effects that things affect my finances. I might purchase something because I like the side effects that I get by buying this item and what I get from it, instead of the side effects of keeping that money in my bank account, right? It's all about side effects. What side effects do you want? And they're all a choice. They're all a choice. And I've had this happen many times where I think I've done everything right and I still have a flare-up. This past week, I had a really bad migraine after trying to eat super well. I was trying to manage all the things that I normally do to help manage my migraines, and I had one of the worst ones I've had in a long time. And my default thoughts went here. Poor me, I can't get the work done that I wanted to get done today because I have a migraine and I can't get on the computer. No, I could go get on the computer. I could physically open my eyes. But it hurts when I open my eyes. So I'm going to choose to not open my eyes and take the side effects that come from laying down, keeping an eye mask on my head, and keeping things quiet over the side effects of going and working or even going and watching TV. There's side effects either way, and I'm just going to choose which ones I want. So let's say you're in a wheelchair. You are paralyzed. You physically cannot walk. And your friends say, hey, we're going to go run this 5K. Do you want to come with us? And it would be so easy for you to think these blame thoughts of course I can't do that. I can't walk. How would I run a 5K? I blame my paralyzed legs for me not going to this 5K with my friends. When instead, if you took control and said, I'm going to choose what I'm going to do. I'm either going to choose to stay home. I could also choose to go and have someone push me. I could choose to go and push myself if your arms are not paralyzed. There are options. There's always options. And when we put on these blame thoughts, we lose out on the options. Our brain shuts that down. Our brain no longer thinks of ways that we can make this work. For the example with my heat intolerance, I have now been able to come up with ways that I can join my friends in outdoor activities, even in the summer. And I've found ways to make that work. Maybe there's certain products that I find that help me to be able to do that. Maybe there are certain times of the day that are better for me. Maybe there are certain activities like swimming. Hey, how about we go swimming? How about we go to the water park instead of going to the regular park? That would be easier for me. But when I'm stuck in blame land, I can't come up with any other options. My brain can't see anything outside of poor me. When I take back control, I realize I have full control. I have so many options. I can find a way to make this work. If I'm in a wheelchair, I can still find a way to do the 5K with my friends. I can be pushed. I can push myself. I can get an electric scooter. I can be the water person and fill up water as people are running by. I can be there at the end to take pictures. I can find a way to do it if I choose to. The point is, when you come from a control mindset, you have choices because you're in control. So let's go through a few more examples. I can't keep my house clean because of my chronic fatigue. Versus, I prefer to rest rather than clean my house because I prefer to save my energy for my children rather than having to worry about a clean home. Blame, I can't work because of my chronic pain. Control, I choose not to work, because I don't like working while I'm in chronic pain. I have to work because of my kids. Or I choose to work because I prefer to stay financially stable and not have to find another means of income. I'm in a bad mood because of my spouse. Or today I've decided it's okay to be in a bad mood, and I'd rather not work on my thoughts today. I want to go back to school, but work is too busy. Versus, I choose to work to bring an income in for my family. I could quit my job or find another job that allows me more freedom to go back to school, but I'm choosing to keep this current lifestyle. In your workbook, there is a full blank page where you can go through your own blame thoughts and see if you can find a way to control them. Notice that there's always options when it comes to control thoughts. There's always other things you can do. This is powerful stuff. This has completely changed my life. When I start to see myself blaming things outside of me and then switch to control, it opens so many doors. It also feels so much less heavy. Do you know how heavy it is to blame things outside of you? You're giving up all of your power. You have so much power to do what you want to do and be the person you want to be and live the life you want to live from control. You have control, but you're giving that away from blaming things outside of you. And I know this because I do it. And I'm not going to say I'm perfect at this point in my life. They still come up, but I notice them now. And I notice when I'm blaming things and when I need to switch that mindset to control. If it's not serving me, I want to switch that. Hey friend, do you find value in this podcast but want to take it to the next level? Work with me one-on-one or check out Chronically Me, the course and workbook. This course takes the things you are learning on the podcast and helps you apply them directly to your life. This course dives deeper into changing your thinking, teaching you how the brain works and how to maximize your life with chronic illness. I designed this course as a companion to the podcast. The podcast gives specific, real-world examples, and the course helps you put them into action. If you want personalized one-on-one help from me, I got you. I also offer individual coaching programs where we can talk about the problems you are facing. I'll help you manage your brain and find solutions to nearly every problem that you have. We will walk hand in hand on this journey together. Check the show notes or the video description on YouTube for more information on getting extra help from me. Talk to you soon.